gourmet pigs in a blanket, it's time to focus on lunch. Now I'm feeding a trio of hungry boys at all hours at our house, so hot dogs tend to be a food group around here. But that doesn't mean you just have to throw one in a bun and call it a day. Here are 2 creative ways to use that store-bought puff pastry to make the most gourmet pigs in a blanket that kids and adults alike are gonna love. Use your pizza wheel or a sharp knife and cut it into long, thin strips. And then we're gonna use this to wrap around our hot dogs. So just starting at one end, I'm gonna wrap tightly to form a spiral pattern. This also gives them kind of a cool visual appeal. Not too shabby, right? That goes onto our baking sheet, and I've also created some smaller pigs in a blanket that are fantastic for lunch boxes. Now the egg wash is super important because it gives us that nice golden brown color. And then of course, we've got our everything bagel seasoning. Not only does it add tons of flavor, but it makes them look so visually appealing too. Now it's time to pop these into the oven and get those lunch boxes ready. That pastry is golden brown and puffed. That seasoning gets a little bit toasted. These are such a fun spin on a classic, and most importantly, they fit great in lunch boxes. So I'm just gonna take the small guys here, pop them into my son's lunch box, close this guy up. Lunch is done. We've covered everything savory, so now it's time for a little something sweet. You are only 4 ingredients away from chocolate twist perfection. Now what comes out of this right here is gonna look like it's straight out of a bakery display case, but don't let looks fool you. This is also easy but impressive. Starting off with that same $7 box of frozen store-bought puff pastry, we're gonna use a little bit of chocolate hazelnut spread and spread this all around on top of our pastry, leaving a 1/2-inch border around the edges. Now all that's left to do is roll it up. So starting at the end closest to me, I'm gonna roll upward. Now you're gonna grab your sharpest knife and you're gonna cut straight through the middle to make 2 halves. Last but not least, grab those 2 halves and twist them to form a braid. Now we're just gonna add our egg wash. Now the sanding sugar is a totally optional addition. Beautiful. Pop this into the oven and it's time for dessert. How absolutely beautiful does that look? All you're gonna do, slice it into servings, then it's time to dig in. It's amazing what you can do with a few pro tips and time-saving tricks. And this wraps up a delicious day in my life as both a chef and a mom. Thanks so much for having me, Rach.